Hey guys, this is Alex, and okay, so it's been a while since I've done a Tim Burton video because I've like looked at my list of videos and I was like, oh my god, I haven't done one in a while. I guess you could count the New York trip because I had the Tim Burton themed restaurant in there, so which was awesome. So I thought, okay, so especially now that Miss Peregrine is a month away, which I'm so excited about. So, and I was thinking, okay, what top 10s could I do this time? And then I thought to myself, hang on a minute, I haven't really talked about the humor in his movies, and so I was like, okay, that's settled. So this top 10 list will be covering the top 10 most funniest Tim Burton moments. Now this could be either a particular moment in a film, it could be a specific character, it could be a whole scene, a montage, or even just the entire film. So this is just opinion based, but here we go. Okay, so a lot of people will be wanting me to explain this, as most people would say it's probably the scariest moment in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But I'm sorry, I found this hilarious. Now, granted, I saw this when I was older, as many people see this film when they're children, so maybe I might have been freaked out as a kid, but I'm sorry. When I first saw this scene, I ended up laughing on the floor. It's one of those moments where you kind of it just, the stop motion animation happened, I was just like, wait, go back. It was just like, what did I just see? And I don't know, so every time it comes up, it's just the one scene that always makes me laugh the hardest. Some people will really disagree with me on that and say, no, it was the scariest moment, but for me, it was the funniest. Okay, so these are like little moments in Sleepy Hollow that I'm referring to. So, and I think the funny thing, and I think it makes it funnier because of the fact that, you know, Ichabod Crane is pretty much investigating crime, so blood will be involved, and yet he has a bit of a phobia, and he does not like looking at the gore and the bodies and whatever, and so that's probably what makes it so funny. And anytime blood is squirted into his face, it's just funny. And then the amount of times that he faints, as well as Katrina as well, it's just like, I just remembered the first time I was watching it and I was like, how many times have they fainted in this movie? And I was just like, oh, you know what, it's funny. But I think I think that what really made it funny for me is, again, because Ichabod is it's his job to look at these bodies and everything, and yet he's so creeped out. That's what I probably find the most funniest. So that's the reason why. Okay, so obviously when I was walking into Edward Scissorhands, I was expecting it to be a sort of, well, not too serious, but, you know, a bit dark, a little creepy, and just a sort of, you know, I had no idea that this film would become my favourite. But I was so amazed that that there was comedy in it, and probably the most comedy for me was probably the first time Edward is brought into the neighborhood, particularly the dinner scene. And in fact, even Tim Burton himself says that yes, this is a current theme that he has in his films, is very awkward dinner scenes, because I think we've all had them, haven't we? And this one was probably the funniest for me, but it's one of those scenes where you're kind of laughing, but not like too hard. It's kind of, you're laughing on how sweet it is, or just how innocent he is, and it's just, you know, but at the same time, this is a character with scissors for hands, so you could have a little bit of comedy, and in some cases I'm kind of glad that there was. So it was a mixture of everything, and that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love it. So yeah. Okay, so it's funny looking back and like looking at a lot of 90s, particularly summer blockbusters and stuff, and finding out that disaster movies were quite a thing in the 90s, and a lot of them took it very seriously and thought, man, we've got CGI, you know, yeah, we could do anything, so let's just go big and everything like that. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about Mars Attacks, is like it kind of went the other way. It was more of a B movie, and so it's one of those disaster movies that, one of the few that takes it comical, and so the attack moments I always thought were the most humorous, which could say that I'm very sick and twisted, but you know, but a lot of people would probably say the same, just because the way that it is a B-style science fiction film. And when, I think, so I would say that the entire second act, so when they started invading Earth, was probably when it got the funniest. I think the funniest moments for me in particular were probably they blew up Congress, 'cause I'm sorry, that was probably my favourite line from the whole movie. And, oh, what was the other funny one? Oh shit, I'm trying to remember now, God! Just basically like the experiments that they do and everything, it's so crazy, and they, you know, it goes along, it has fun with it, and that's part of the comedy of it, and it's hard not to laugh. So, yeah, there we go. Okay, so obviously Big Fish is a film that's, well, as it says in the tagline, it's bigger than life. And again, when I first saw this movie, I had no idea what I was watching, or what kind of story I was going in for, or whatever like that. And so, and I was trying to think to myself, there are a lot of funny moments in Big Fish, as well as touching moments, of course. And I think the funniest for me would probably be the circus montage when Edward Bloom is working there, because it's that determination that he has for trying to find the love of his life, even though he only just saw her for like a few seconds, or when time froze. But the great thing about it is that you completely just go along with it, and it's like, you know what? Who cares if he only saw her a few seconds? You know what? I'm completely with him. But it's the lengths that he will go to, and the all around the activities and the work he has to do around the circus definitely proves that. And I should probably add the scenes when he's at the university and he just straight up says, "Hi, I'm Edward Bloom, and I love you." And it's just like, sure, because that's the way to approach it. But you know what? The funny thing is, because I saw it with my school, and so we had it was like we were at a cinema pretty much, and you know, everyone was completely with him, but at the same time we were laughing as well. So it's one of those, it's kind of like Edward Scissorhands, it's very sweet, but it's funny at the same time, so yeah. I think really the filming scenes in Edward was probably the funniest for me, just because of I think it was the funniest for me because you're looking at Ed's excitement and positive and the energy that he has and the passion that he has, and it's great and everything, and the humor actually comes from both him and the others, because they're looking at us, you can see the facial expressions, and you just see like Ed just there kind of going, "Oh man, this is amazing," and then the others are just like, "What the fuck is that?" And that's probably the best comedy, and I think the filming scenes really show that, so I think it's the reaction to what they're making. Funniest moments for me is probably the sort of cat fight between the two girls, because that was just funny, and then you see it in their acting and love it. The tension between them is great. And then the octopus scene I absolutely love, because again, Ed's face along with everyone else's, and poor Bellicosi's in there, and he's just screaming and trying to pretend this thing's killing him. And then, oh, what was the other one? And then, oh yes, the colorblind joke, that was pretty funny, I liked that. So basically any of the filming scenes, because it comes from half of Ed and half from the others, and I think it's that, just those reactions, they're very subtle, but I love them, so that's what makes it funny. Oh, really? Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer. Obviously, I said this in the review, and I said that, you know, Sweeney Todd was a movie that I really wanted to see, and this was before I even knew who Tim Burton was, and, you know, it looked dark and creepy, and it looked great, and and I didn't realize it was a musical at that time, so I really wanted to go see it. So not only did it surprise me that there was music in this, but I was surprised that they had comedy in this, and man, does it come from Sacha Baron Cohen, because he is funny in this. I think I'm trying to work out what is just so damn funny about Crowley. I think it's just the sort of, that kind of bigger than life attitude that he has, and just the way that he sings, and he's very dramatic. He's very dramatic. So, and then of course, and then there's the contrast with Sweeney Todd, and he's just there like, you know, and like, and it's a great contrast. So so you could say it's much like Ed Wood and the other crew members in Ed Wood. It's just that contrast that really makes the comedy for me. But I think Pirelli is a little higher because his performance, I mean, he just goes out there, and it's just, love it, love it. Well, I can't mention a Tim Burton funniest list without mentioning the Joker, because oh my god. Again, this is probably coming from my personal experience with first seeing Batman, because when I first saw this movie, obviously I've heard of Batman, and obviously I've heard of the Joker, because I had seen The Dark Knight before and thought it was good, you know, but I wasn't an expert on Batman, so I, you know, didn't really get invested into it until much later. And then found out that Tim Burton did the Batman movies, and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. And oh my god, Jack Nicholson as the Joker, oh my god, this really made me think, wow, no wonder the Joker is such a famous comic book villain, as well as Batman being a really famous comic book hero. And I loved that, and oh, Jack Nicholson, my god, I think he was just perfect as well. I mean, there are so many interpretations of the Joker, which I love. I mean, I love Mark Hamill's performance in the animated series, and obviously Heath Ledger. Apparently people are saying Suicide Squad was pretty good, even though he wasn't in it. Haven't seen it yet, but okay, I'll take your word for it. But for me, Jack Nicholson is probably the funniest, and probably the most entertaining for me, and just some things he does in the movie just made me laugh, and makes me laugh hard. So I think the biggest one for me was definitely the gallery scene, because I don't know. I think just the way that, you know, we've got the Prince song, and then the way he approaches Vicky and everything like that, and it's like, where does he get those wonderful toys? I love it. Love it. So if you gotta have a funny list, I gotta have the Joker in there. Plain and simple. Okay, so a lot of you are probably thinking, will you stop talking about Barnabas and Angelique, please? I'm sorry, but this scene just cracks me up so much. Again, this probably has to come to the fact, the first time I saw the trailer was, I think it came out like midnight, or I saw it at midnight. It was very, very late at night, and they always, at the end of every single Dark Shadows trailer up until the release of the movie, they always played the love scene at the very end. And I remember the first time I was like, it was like Large Marge, where I was like, wait, go back. And I was just like, what? What just happened? And then I finally saw the movie, and I saw that obviously this was the same set that I saw in the trailer, so I was like, aha, I see it coming. And yeah, when it started, I was just like, how can you not laugh at that? I'm sorry, it is so hard not to laugh at that. I just... And then that sudden cut to the aftermath of it, and it's just like... Love it. Absolutely love it. I think only, probably only someone, I think only a director like Tim Burton can pull a love scene off like that and just completely, you just go for it. I can't help it. It's hilarious. So, anyway. Just the whole movie, just Beetlejuice in general, you know? Because Beetlejuice is freaking hilarious. I can understand why a lot of people would say that Beetlejuice is one of their favourite Tim Burton movies. Definitely understand that. Because of just how funny it is, and you just completely go along with the absurdity of it all, and I love it because of that. You just have fun with it, and it's one of those, it's just got that energy and, you know, that sort of thing to it, and I was trying to work out, I knew that Beetlejuice at some point was going to be #1 on the list, but I was thinking, is there a particular moment that made you laugh the hardest, or is there a particular character that made you laugh the hardest? No, it's just the whole movie. I mean, obviously, you know, Michael Keaton, obviously, you know, is hilarious. I mean, anytime Beetlejuice is on screen, it's just, you know, but there were just so many other funny things about it as well. So, like, you know, the afterlife, and the other dead people, and obviously, and the Dietzes have their funny moments as well. And, of course, you gotta mention the dinner scene. First time I watched that, I was like, it's one of those things where you're kind of stunned for words, and it's like, you can't help but laugh at it. And you just have fun with it, and so it's just, Beetlejuice is a great staple of comedy, and, you know, especially, you know, 80s comedy, and, you know, black comedy and whatever, and so I gotta put the whole movie as #1. You might disagree, maybe you might not, so, you know, we'll see. But, I mean, I'm wondering what funny moments, or what moments made you laugh the most in Tim Burton's movies. So, leave comments in below. And hopefully, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye!